Daybreak, December 7th, 1941. Beginning at 6 a.m., warrior after warrior lifted undetected into the morning sky off 6 Japanese aircraft carriers 200 miles north of Oahu. Over 350 Japanese attack planes in 2 separate waves poured over the Waianae mountain range and through the Kolikoli Pass. Tora, Tora, Tora was the code word radioed back from the pilots to the carriers. The first wave of the attack strike force was passing Oahu's north shore. Surprise was complete. American soldiers and sailors had just begun a relaxed routine of a Sunday morning in paradise. No aircraft carriers were in the harbor that morning. 7 heavily armed battleships were resting along Battleship Row. The USS Nevada, Arizona, West Virginia, Tennessee, Maryland, Oklahoma, and California. Despite the impressive firepower concentrated in the harbor that morning, American forces found themselves nearly defenseless. A normally tranquil harbor awoke to a nightmare of devastation. A few Japanese planes were shot down, but confusion reigned. In less than 2 hours, the Pacific Fleet and her air forces lay in shambles. By 9:45 a.m., the last of the attackers sped back to their carriers just north of Oahu. Only 29 Japanese planes, less than 10% of the attacking force, failed to return. Other December 7th Japanese losses included 5 midget submarines and 64 personnel. In return, the Japanese inflicted over 2,400 American deaths. 21 U.S. ships lay sunk or crippled. 164 aircraft would never fly again. On Monday, December 8, 1941, the President of the United States, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, gave his declaration of war speech to the United States Congress.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
President Roosevelt went on to say, "But always will our whole nation remember the character of the onslaught against us." The Joint Chiefs of Staff of the United States Armed Forces gave General of the Army Douglas MacArthur command of the invasion of Japan in May of 1945. In the middle of the planning process, the war suddenly ended in August of 1945 because atomic bombs were dropped on Hiroshima on August 6th and again on Nagasaki on August 9th. There was no defeat in Japanese history. General MacArthur wanted to make sure the Japanese knew they had been defeated. On the morning of September 2nd, 1945, nearly 260 warships lay at anchor in Tokyo Bay. General MacArthur opened the proceedings with these words, "At this exact location on this starboard quarter deck," he said, "We are gathered here, representatives of the major warring powers, to conclude a solemn agreement whereby peace may be restored." General MacArthur went on to say, "It is my earnest hope, and indeed the hope of all mankind, that from this solemn occasion a better world shall emerge out of the blood and carnage of the past, a world founded upon faith and understanding. Let us pray that peace be now restored to the world and that God will preserve it always." The USS Arizona Memorial. She has been inscribed with the names of those who perished on the ship, 1,174 men. Silent yet eloquent testimony to the tragedy and waste of war. The real cost of war, if it is measured in lives, is someone's child, parent, brother. The lives lost on December 7, 1941, represent a tragedy that continues to haunt the American people. Today at Pearl Harbor, more than 1 million people a year visit the USS Arizona Memorial to recall the events which propelled America into World War II. In her bosom, the USS Arizona eternally protects the remains of her fallen crew. The daily vigil continues, a constant reminder of a Sunday morning long ago. Here we are now permanently moored on this great ship in Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor is part of our national heritage. The men who died here should well be remembered. But wouldn't it be wonderful? Wouldn't it be wonderful if we had no more memorials built for the fallen, but only for those ones who accomplished something in this life to make this a better world? Wouldn't that be wonderful?